and stuff like that. Because, well, I doubt anyone specifically listen, but if you do, guess what? Sometimes your agenda is stupid.
The one
It's
time
false.
someone
Yeah,
there
the one time.
clicks on the link.
Yeah, Rick Morrissey, you're an idiot. I'll tell you that right now. You're a joke, and you can't fool anybody worth that has a couple of brain cells to rub together. And unfortunately, well, I should say, fortunately, they can operate here. They can and do operate here. So you're not fooling anybody. Stop wasting time. You're not getting my clicks. I don't care. I don't even follow you on Twitter, you buffoon. So stop it. Just stop. So I did happen to see a graphic from contrasting. I shouldn't say contrasting, but laying over the different size of the size of the left field scoreboard. Very, very impressive.
Is it?
Very, very cool. Yes, it is. I want to say it's close to twice the size of the old scoreboard in center field.
Wow.
Like twice as wide. It's nice and a good, probably, I think, it looked like maybe 7 to 10 feet taller.
Good.
Yeah.
I like
Get
that.
those. Yeah, it looks good. It's going to be a very good source of revenue. I think it's going to be a nice opportunity for them to renovate, or excuse me, modernize is the best way to really put it, because that's what it really requires.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't have renovated Wrigley, but
Yeah.
I would have just blown it up. But that's just me.
So let's see. Anything else in the main sports that is really pressing?
Big win for the Hawks tonight against
Yes.
New York Rangers. They continue to roll without the former MVP candidate Patrick Kane. However, I mean, well, the Rangers are a good team. That was a good win, but most of the teams they played while Kane has been out has been a crap fest of crap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just bad teams. So I wouldn't get too excited. I saw some jokes on Twitter like, oh, they're a better team without Kane. No one was really serious about it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people out there thinking that they are a better team without Kane because they've gone on a little bit of a hot streak. But let's keep in mind that they played like 5 bad teams.
Well, they would drop so many bad games earlier in the season to lesser teams. I mean,
Like
look at what they've
Edmonton.
done.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, Edmonton, Winnipeg. I mean, it's been rough. So I'm glad they're getting the wins.
Absolutely. And the top teams in the division are struggling, so Hawks are gaining ground. Just a little bit of time left, but I don't think they'll have enough to get that top seed in the division. But they're at least making an attempt at it, and it's making a little bit fun in this last stretch. Otherwise, it would just be like, oh my God, when are the playoffs starting? So
Yeah, absolutely. Oof, oof, oof. So that's been nice. Scott Darling having a very, very good performance. Shutout in New York, so not very easy to do. So very happy about that. Anything else with I guess the major sports? Do you really care about what's going on with the Bulls or not, or is it just get it over with?
get it over with. I mean, if you can get Rose back in time for the playoffs, then that'll make it interesting. Maybe not to see how well they'll do in the playoffs, because I don't think they're going to do well with a Rose that is not 100%, and I'm talking 100% on the way he was this season. A lesser version of the lesser version, like I don't know how great that's going to be, but it'd be interesting to see. And they probably still are the third best team in the East, maybe. So they can make a little run, and it's playoff basketball. It'll be fun to an extent, but like you said, right now, ugh, it's like the dog days.
I think it's even worse because there's this. I really just don't think this team's very good, even with Derrick Rose. I just don't think it's good.
okay. Say everyone's healthy. Rose is healthy. Butler is healthy. Dunleavy's healthy. You've got everyone out there. Now we're talking playoffs, so you take off the minute restrictions on Noah. They're a good team, aren't they?
I think they're a B-plus team.
Aren't they the second best team in the East, 100% healthy?
I think
At
they're
least?
a B-plus team with three A-minus teams with three A-minus teams ahead of them.
Okay, they're a B-plus team in the East, and I think the best team in the East is probably an A-minus team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think all three. I think the three teams that are better than them right now that I would consider would be the Cavs.
Right.
To
me, that's
the Wizards.
See, I don't think the Wizards are bad now. I mean, they still might have the Bulls' number, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're not good anymore. Like something happened to them, and they're bad.
Well, don't tell. Yeah, it's like let's not let them know that they're bad, so they can stop that. And maybe the Hawks. What do you think?
See, I would put the Hawks. That's why I said right now they're like the third best team in the East. But I think if the Bulls are healthy, I think they're better than the Hawks. They won't have a better record, but we all know about better records in the regular season and what that means.
Yeah,
exactly. What that can do for you.
Yes. So, okay, but they got to do something. They have to really do. The NBA has to do something because that's just the way the West has been. And I don't think the East is as bad as it was.
I don't like that. Like, and everyone wants, like, teams from the West playing in the East because of record-wise. But, like, can you imagine if they did that to, like, the AL East? Like, well, these 5 teams are great every year. Like, let's just, let's put Toronto in the NL, the NL West now. Like, you know what? Eventually, one day, who knows, things will turn around. You'll have the glory days of the East back. And you still, I mean, the West is so great, and you still, the last 2 out of 3 championships came from the East. Granted, it was just one team dominating, but, like, I don't want to see restructuring of the conferences, except for if it makes sense, like Memphis in the East. Okay, makes sense because
they're east of the Mississippi River.
I mean, look at in college. I mean, they're in the SEC. They're in, I mean, so that would make sense. But like, I've heard thoughts of like, well, what if you just make the top 16 records no matter what conference. I don't know. Then it's like an NCAA tournament. There's no. Why even have conferences? You know what I mean? Why have conferences then? So I don't know. I guess I'm a traditionalist to an extent. Just keep the playoffs in the conferences the way they are.
Yeah, I get it. There's nothing really wrong with that or anything. So obviously not. So
or here, New Orleans.
Yes.
New Orleans playing in the West. So
oh yeah, that makes sense.
So if they make the playoffs, their home games for their home fans start at 9:30 at night. That doesn't make any sense. Put them in the East, please. For the love of their fans, for the sake of their fans. Like, oh, I'm going to the game tonight. What time does it start? 9:30?
Nope. Going to bed. Oh man. Actually, I did just pull up the Blackhawks schedule just to see what they have ahead of them. And as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much a cakewalk for the rest of the season.
That's not good.
Well, you got the Stars, Hurricanes, Flyers, Blue Jackets, Jets. That's always trouble. Kings, Canucks, Sabres, Blues, and Wild. No more Preds.
Yeah,
so that's a shame because they have the Preds number.
And they haven't played them since like January. The NHL like totally screwed up the.
Yeah,
we're gonna make it really division oriented, but you won't play anyone in your division the last 2 months of the season.
Yep, way to go.
Can you imagine if the Cubs and Cards or the Cubs and Brewers didn't play for the last 2 months of the season?
Oh man.
Or like the Sox and Indians or Sox and Detroit, like
they were done with the Indians by like I think by the end of August, which was a good thing. I hate that team.
Come on.
Oh, I hate that team.
How do you hate them?
Stupid.
2 or 3 movies after them.
Two good movies. All right. Anything else on the majors?
I think that's it.
All right. If you are the well, I shouldn't say majors, but the main sports that occupy our time and talk, thank you very much for listening. We're going to shift gears over to sports entertainment, as they like to call themselves. So we will talk to you next week for all of the mainstreams. And moving on to wrestling, you have to catch me up because since, oh gosh, what was it? Fastlane? Unfortunately, I haven't been watching that much, and I did happen to catch up on Raw this past week. I enjoyed. I really did meatball out with Randy Orton and his return, and I've really liked what he's done so far. Am I wrong to think that way? It feels good to have him back, as far as I'm just how my own personal opinion is. It's Paul Heyman has got me very interested and pumped up for WrestleMania because I honestly can't see how Roman Reigns could win.
Yes, it is okay and just to be excited about Randy Orton, and they've played it well too, where they did a slow burn where it looked like he wasn't going to ever turn on Rollins, although, I mean, you knew it was going to happen, but they waited and waited and waited for the payoff, and that actually came last week on Raw.
Which was sweet.
and they played that well. You should be excited about that, and I'm very excited about that match. Orton versus Rollins should be probably is going to be the best match at Mania altogether. Yeah. Paul Heyman is the best talker in wrestling history. He is selling the crap out of the match. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a great match. I think Reigns will win. I think Reigns has done well in the ring. He still can't talk all that well on the mic. So you've got basically the greatest talker of all time going up against with Paul Heyman being the greatest talker, his the mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar, against one of the worst on the mic of all time in Roman Reigns. But the excitement, I mean, Reigns has been pretty good in the match, and they've been building him up, and I think, in my opinion, they've corrected their error. They stuck with it. It looked like they were going to add Bryan to the match, and it was like, dude, you're doing this again? Seriously? Like, you made your bed, now lie in it. And I'm excited about it. And, Lesnar's contract's going to be up. Rumor has it he's going to sign with UFC. So, most people do think that Reigns will win. And I think they can make it believable. I don't think, I don't think Daniel Bryan beating Lesnar would have been believable at all.
No, it wouldn't.
Especially with how fragile he's been, just like in real life with injuries.
I have a hard time thinking that it's going to be believable for Reigns to win, just because of what we've seen from Lesnar since
WrestleMania last year.
Yeah, SummerSlam. What did he
beat?
Get the title?
He beat the streak. I mean, that's what got it started.
It did get it started, but since he took the title, he's just looked unbeatable. Every time he's looked better and better. I mean, the shape that we saw him in from WrestleMania to SummerSlam was outrageous. It was an outrageous difference. And then when did he retain it? Hell in a Cell, I think?
No, he was not Hell in a Cell. He was, I think, he wasn't even a Survivor Series, was he? He hasn't wrestled a lot.
Rumble? Yeah, he hasn't really wrestled a lot. It's been the quarterly.
There was the triple threat match at Rumble, which was the best
Yeah.
part of Rumble. Other
Yes.
than that, yeah, he might not have.